Hello everyone, this is Direwolf20 and welcome to episode 6 of Direwolf20's Space Engineers Let's Play series. I'm doing some cool stuff today. As you can see, I just finished expanding my platform a little bit. Not terribly exciting, but it's going to be cool because I've got some stuff to do. Last episode, we worked on making a nifty new ship in our creative world, and I promised you that this episode we'd be taking a look at the projector, a very cool way to go ahead and project an image of something that we've already made so that we can build it again. It's really cool, and we're going to be doing that pretty much right about now. So we're going to want some stuff before we get ready to do this, so I'm going to make sure I've got some metal grids, probably some interior plates I'll need, maybe some small steel tubes, all this good stuff. Maybe a few. I know I'm going to want, what do I got in my production tab here? 3 reactor components. Looks like I'm out of iron, so that's no good. Inventory, did you actually make those reactor components? Oh, we're out of iron. That's what happened. All right, we'll have to get some iron then. Cool. That's an interesting start to an episode. That's all right. We'll get started at least. So I'm going to smack down a new small ship right there and weld that dude up. I'm going to want a large steel tube to go along with it. You know what I can do? I've got an idea. I'm going to open this guy up. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to put these in here for the time being. Let me put this in disassemble mode. And will you... Nice. I can disassemble a few of these steel plates. Cool, and it's pulling it. Nice, so I'm getting iron from that. Alright, once that's done disassembling, and this thing should zip back over to the place it's supposed to be. I'm actually going to switch this guy back into assembly mode. 3 of those, please. Nice. Alright, so no mining needed. Haha. Take that. My inventory full? Yeah, that's part of the problem. All right, so that's there, and then I'll probably want some of these. So what I'm doing is we need to project a small ship, and we can't do that with a large projector. So I'm going to create a very, 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 very simple ship. It's literally going to be 3 blocks. Number 1, we're going to have the landing gear, which will anchor this thing to the station. So it doesn't need thrusters. We don't have to worry about that. We're just going to go ahead and place this guy right here. He's going to have a nuclear reactor so he can be powered. And for that nuclear reactor, I'm going to snag some uranium. I think 2 ingots will be plenty. And then on top of that guy, we're going to want ourselves a projector. Cool. Now the projector's job is basically to project an image. Now here's an important note. See this little like plus sign type symbol? If we rotate this guy, we'll see that that plus sign really only exists on one side. Cool. And as I weld this in, I'm going to need a couple more computers. The projector is what's going to allow us to create in a survival world the cool things that we make in a creative world. So that ship that I told you guys you can go download if you want, go for it. It's ready. So into the nuclear reactor will go the fuel. Ta-da! And this thing is now online. By the way, when you're done using it, this thing should be outputting like very small amounts of power. It should last a really long time. But if you want, you can just toggle the reactor off and it just won't use any fuel at all. It basically shuts down the entire ship. The ship being 1, 2, 3 blocks tall. And then we can toggle the block back on and it's back up and running. So now let's take a look at how we can use this. I want to activate my blueprints. So remember last episode, oh look, it's even up there on the Steam Workshop. That is cool. Dire Basic Welder, awesome. So you can see I uploaded it to the workshop and then I gave it a little bit better name and some details. So if you go into your details here, Basic Welder I created as an example of creative mode building. Cool, right? So now I can just go ahead and double click on that or the one that I have. So anything with a blue little blueprint here is something that you've saved, and anything with the little Steam logo is something that you've gotten off the Steam Workshop. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead. It doesn't matter which one I choose. I'll choose the one from here. So I'll say, okay. And ta-da! We've got a holographic projection of Dire's Basic Welder ship. How cool is that? Oh, I'm excited. So let's build it, shall we? So there's a couple things we're going to need to do to build it. So here's the catch. You cannot just build something in midair. So I can't go over here and just start welding. It's not going to work. What you need to do in order for this to work is the block that you want to weld has to be attached to another block that's already existing in the world. So notice by placing this block here, it's touching this one right up here that's glowing, and that means that both of these are now weldable. Nice, right? Now there's another trick that we can do. I'm going to go into the control panel here. I'm going to select the projector. There's a few things we can do. Keep projection means that once it's done, it'll keep the projector running. You can use this to create multiple of the same ship if you want. You can also adjust the offsets. So if you want this thing to be projected further away from the block or closer, or just alter the pitch or roll or whatever, you can. But what I'm going to do is show the box here, show only buildable. Check that out. So let's get to welding, shall we? So this block here, I don't need to weld it. We're eventually going to get rid of it. But as I weld this block, check that out. It shows the other blocks that are available to be welded as well. And then I can kind of start expanding from there. Nice, right? So I'm going to get this ship welded. We're going to see how well I can do. I've actually never welded it like this, but I'm going to try it out. I've never done it by hand. This is honestly the first time I've ever done it by hand. I've always done something else here. There's a couple other things we can do, which we'll get into later in the series. But it looks pretty straightforward so far. However, I'm not going to do this by hand for the whole episode, because that would probably get boring really quick. But as you can see, as I weld a block, any blocks that are touching it are now available to be welded as well. So I'll probably work my way up, get all these guys built, and if I run into an issue or something that you guys need to know about, I'll be back to show you. Deal? Deal. Alright, so we'll be back in a minute. And also energy low. Alright guys, we're back. I've built a bit up of my ship there. However, one thing I know I'm low on, and we're going to have to go out and find, is probably silver. We are definitely low on silver. That's not good. Iron we're pretty low on, but luckily that's very easy to find. Oh boy, something happened here that's not good. I noticed a little bit of damage occurring, but that's why we've got steel plates on there. So sometimes the extra mass of that ship being so full of ore can cause a little damage when it snaps into place, but that's okay. He should connect, courtesy of our automation that we built last episode. Nice. And then our refinery should be kicking into gear. I'm going to back up and continue welding a little bit. See you guys in a moment or two. And just checking in, continuing to weld. As you guys can see, the exact ship that I built in my creative world is being constructed here, basically one block at a time. I don't have to worry about placing the individual blocks, it's basically building it for me. All I have to do is make sure to weld it using all the ingredients that I've got here. I think I can throw that scrap metal in and it'll get refined. That's cool. Nice. So, continuing to weld, back in a few. Alright guys, the ship's coming along beautifully. I just put together some small reactors, and I'm going to throw some fuel in there before I forget. It's kind of an important step, and we don't want to forget about it. So we'll put 3 in there, and we'll put 3 in here. That should be cool. And then I'm going to continue welding. So I've already got the conveyor tubes, the conveyor. I haven't built my cargo container yet, but I think I'll get on that right now. Looks like I'm going to need a display and some more interior plates. I might have some more of those. Let's produce like 50 or so interior plates. And displays. I'm getting low on displays. Let's produce just a few of them. 20 ought to do. Cool. So obviously it's very tricky to weld stuff by hand, especially when you want to get something like this built, because you have to be a little bit careful about how you weld it. It's kind of, honestly, 100% the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing right now, which is building a ship that can weld for me, because it'll have a longer range and more inventory capacity. All around awesome things. Let's make about 50 of these. That should be pretty cool. Nice. Alright, so I will be continuing to weld for a bit here. It looks like I've got most of the components in. I have, let's see, aside from armor blocks, which are easy, right? It's just steel plates, 1 per armor block. Those are really easy to make. All that I really have left here, let's see, I might even be able to check it. Energy low. Let's see, projector. Blocks remaining. 2 spotlights, 5 reactors, 3 gyroscopes, an antenna, a remote control, a small thruster times 16, and a camera. None of that seems terribly impossible, so I'll be back. Well guys, believe it or not, this ship is actually starting to look like a ship. Nice, right? So it's coming along nicely. I've got a little bit more to do, I think. I've got the roof. I'll show you here in a minute. Let me just finish these last couple blocks. There we go. Nice. So we've got the roof to do still, and that's kind of it. I didn't put as many reactors as I wanted to on there, but I'm actually out of silver. But let's check out our projector here. We only have some armor blocks left, and the remote control, the camera, the antenna, and that's about it. I mean, we're pretty close here. I don't know if I can sneak in here to see. The nice thing about these projector blocks is you can actually do cool stuff with them. I think if I weld that there, even though like it's not fully welded, I can at least put the remote control on. Make sure the remote control is the thing on the right there. That definitely helps. Much better. So now we've got the remote control in place. This is going to require 4 radio communication components. Radio communication. Nice. Oh, right, they're pretty big in size. So continuing to weld, back in a minute. All right, guys, I think we're getting towards the end of this ship. Took a little bit while to weld by hand, I won't lie. But you know what? It kind of worked out. There's the camera going in. Nice. By the way, the camera, the word camera needs to be on the top. If it's not, it'll be like upside down and weird. Keep that in mind. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm just going to charge up my energy a little bit here. Looks like my oxygen's low too. Boy, I can't wait till I have like a bit more resources, because then I can build some much cooler stuff and not have to worry so much. Let's just check the projection block here and see what's not done. In theory, the projector should show 6 armor blocks and 4 small reactors. That's not bad at all. You can see the reactors in the back here. There's these couple and then a couple probably blocks of armor that were inside the walls there. Not a big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and say that we're done. So in order to remove these ships, I just, boom. Now they're 2 separate ships. Cool. I should be able to then, small ship 1, we're going to go to the info tab. We're going to call it basic welder 1. Cool. And now when I go here, basic welder 1, nice. So we can see all this cool stuff here. Got my remote control that I can tap into, and nice. And look, even remembered that hotkey 1 and 2. That is cool. Look at that, you can see the lights, and then boom. That is nice. That is really nice. I'm not getting much by way of brightness. Let's go to our control panel, our lights, radius, fall off, intensity. Oh, no, fall off we want to be nice and low. These spotlights don't seem to be doing much, do they? I know I've used them before and they've been better. Radius, intensity. I mean, I don't think higher fall off is good. I think higher fall off is bad. You should see better than this, to be honest with you. Yeah, it doesn't really look all that bright, does it? Let me play with it a bit. Alright guys, I'm not sure what's up with the spotlights. I think it might be a bug in the current version. I just checked and the latest version was released, came out with a whole bunch of bug fixes, but a couple of them did get introduced. So hopefully next version will be sorted out. They do release a version once a week, so don't expect it to be an issue for too much longer. There is something I want to show you though. You'll notice that in my control panel for my basic welder, I've got a whole bunch of stuff that honestly I'm not going to have to do much with. You know, the camera is probably nice to have in there, but things like the gyroscopes, you can do stuff with gyroscopes, like adjust their power and some overrides and stuff, but I'm not going to work with them right now, so I'm going to highlight them and just see this show block and terminal option. Boom, they're hidden. Nice. Up here you can toggle whether or not you're showing hidden blocks. So this is a really useful way of doing stuff. So I'm going to leave the cargo container remote control, but the reactors I don't worry about, and the thrusters I'm not going to worry about. So show block and terminal, off. Hey, look at that. Pretty nice, right? The welders I'm going to combine into a group called, you guessed it, welders. So we'll leave them in there. The spotlights are in the lights group, and then I've got the remote control, the cargo container, the connector, and the camera. That should be pretty good. So let's jump into remote control mode, boom, and see what we can do. Luckily the sun's coming up, so that brightness problem won't be too much of a sticking point. So what I'd like to do is build an autopilot system for this. So I'm going to pop out of here, and then I'm going to, with my player here, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. But we need to basically control our ship and line it up to the point where it's going to be docked. So let's get into position. Wow, that thing was moving faster than I thought. I forgot I have so many thrusters on there. So let's remote control that guy. We'll bring him down some, this way some. And it's a little bit hard to tell, as we've learned, from one angle, but I think that should be pretty cool, right? As our connector, like it's on, right? It's ready to hook in, and the owner is me. There it goes. Nice. So remember, it's important to have your remote control block kind of in the center of the connector block. So that is the state of the remote control. It's behind the camera there, remember? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dire welder 1, remote control him. And then with him in position, ready to be docked, I'm going to create a new GPS, new from current position, and we will call this dire weld dock. Cool. So now let's set up auto docking. Dire welder. We're gonna go. We can use the same distant one, I think. Should be all right. So docking point distant add. We'll try it. If we have to make a new distant for the welder, we will. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to have some timer blocks here. So let's get one. So I need interior plate, construction component, and computers. Interior plates, construction components, and computers. Nice. And then what we'll do for the welder, so the first thing you're going to do is when you get to the distant point, you're going to set up actions. We're going to tell the connector to toggle the block on, and we're going to set the remote control to be backwards mode. That'll be cool. The timer block, we'll do like the 20-second thing again, so we'll do about 25 seconds here. Well, actually he shouldn't need as much because he's got better thrusters, so we'll start with 15, 16. We'll see how that works out. And we're going to say connector lock. Cool. So 16 seconds after this thing runs, the connector is going to lock on the timer block. So we'll go to remote control here, and then the third action here will be to start the timer. Cool. So let's see how well this thing works. So basic welder 1, remote control go. You know what I should do is I should have the connector toggle block on off here so that he's easier to pull away from the station. We'll kind of put him in any old position. I kind of like him to be in a weird place so that he's not perfectly lined up to the station, because rarely will he be. So remote control, autopilot on. Nice. So he should zoom forward to the docking point distant. Wait, hold on. Basic welder, remote control, autopilot off. I forgot to put precision mode on. That's an important thing. If precision mode's not on, just won't work at all. So dire welder, remote control, autopilot. Cool. So now you should find your way down to docking point distant. Oh wait, hold on. One thing I forgot to tell you guys. Welder 1, remote control. Let's get him away from here. When you are doing remote controls, it remembers that it got to docking point 1 last, and it didn't get to the welding dock. So we need to reset waypoint. All right, autopilot on. Now he should head back to docking point distant. Cool. Yeah, he was basically going straight to the welding dock point because he already got to the distant point. So you go there, and then you orientate around, hopefully. That looks pretty good. You're getting there. Maybe not as good as I had thought. Alright, this autopilot's being a little bit derpy. Man, autopilot used to work a lot better. I gotta think that there's a bug in this version. You know what? I have a theory as to why things are being a little bit funny with this autopilot. I think it's because he doesn't have enough reactors to actually power all his thrusters, and he can't orientate himself well because his reactors keep getting overloaded. So I'm gonna go mine real quick, come back here in a moment. I need to find some silver. So let me fly out to some further asteroids and hopefully I can find some silver. And then we'll come back. Once I make a few more reactor components, I can get those reactors powered on and hopefully that'll resolve my issues. Oh, nice. Looks like I found some silver. That is cool. Coming in for a stop. Just a reminder that big ships are a little bit slow to stop, but that's okay. Let's find this silver. It looks like it's either on the other side of this asteroid or it's deep inside. If it's deep inside, that's alright. We have ways of dealing with such things. Alright, yeah, it definitely looks like it's like right in front there. So let's make sure our drills are active and we're going to hold right click and we should be able to drill deep inside pretty easily. So remember, right click completely destroys the rock and clears it in a larger radius around your drills. So hopefully enough for my ship to fit in. And if that's the case, it does look like it is because it's definitely like clearing a large part of the terrain. I just want a ton of silver because that's something I'm really low on right now. So let's get into this asteroid. Be careful when going in, by the way, because bumping into the walls of asteroids with your ship, especially pieces of the ship that aren't protected by armor plating, like, I don't know, most of mine, is kind of bad. So be aware. Nice. I can see I'm collecting silver ore. Very cool. So it was pretty deep into this asteroid, but I found a bunch. So I'm going to mine as much as I can. I'm going to completely fill up my hold here and then head back to my base. So I'll see you guys back there as we start to process this silver ore. Alright, I know I said we'd come back at, you know, when we get back to the station, but just wanted you guys to see me flying out of this asteroid. This part's almost as hard as going in because it's very hard to align your ship exactly the way it was going in. So make sure to hold right click and drill your way out too, because even though you're trying to go out the same place you came in, trust me, you're going to bump into something and it's going to hurt and you're going to regret it. My cargo hold's pretty full, but I'm also getting a little low on oxygen and I'm far away from my base. So I'm going to pilot this guy back out there as best I can. Good, and hopefully I can get home because I am getting a little bit low. Meet you guys back at the base. Alright guys, we're about to get a lesson in what happens when you forget to bring oxygen into space with you. Look at my oxygen meter. Definitely not looking good. So let me stop this ship. Dun 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 dun. That's not good. New from current position waypoint. Cool. So now at least I know where I am. I'm just gonna sit right here and wait for death to take me. At least I know where my ship is. Oh boy. Troubles are happening. So I'm 90% sure I wouldn't have made it. So I'll meet you guys back here. I'm gonna die in a moment, and I guess you get to see what happens when you die. Nothing enjoyable, trust me. But I did mark my silver waypoint, so that's back there. That's nice. Low health. Dun 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 dun. Seek medical attention immediately. I'm trying, ship. I'm trying. Oh, there we go. You died. So what happens when you die? I will show you. Basically, you get to respawn at your station. Oh man, with no energy? That's weird. Never seen that happen before. Nope. Let's
Energy
What's this all about? Never seen my energy drop so fast. It's weird. Okay, so that's cool. Jetpack on. Nice. Alright. I'll meet you guys back here in a moment once I've gotten my ship back and brought it back to the station. FYI, your previous corpse, I guess, will be floating there with all the stuff on it, so don't be afraid to pick it up. But if you just give it a little nudge, you'll kind of go flying off. See you later, old Direwolf 20. Alright, meeting you back at home. Technically, by the way, I could turn on my autopilot probably and just have this guy autopilot home. Just not 100% sure I trust him at this moment to do that. And I don't want to lose all the silver I just picked up, so... Alright, let's see what happens. This guy is going to dock, in theory. A little bit of damage occurs, it looks like, when that docking happens, but that's okay. I can just weld it up and fixed. Something I'll just tweak a little bit with some of the waypoint stuff. And once that timer ticks, we should be connected up, and we'll be getting some silver. I'm going to make some more reactor components and be prepared to make reactors. So let's get ourselves some metal grids. I know we'll need that. And what else am I going to want? Probably some motors and computers and construction components. And probably even some small steel tubes. I'm going to go install them over here. So remember, we've got the 2 reactors. Let's throw 2 more in. 1, 2. So then I just need, oh yeah, large steel tubes as well, it looks like. 1 each. Man, it is really bright in the sun, isn't it? May seem intuitive to you guys, but it's brighter than I remember it being. Production. Make about 20 of them. That'll be good. Nice. So all that silver I brought home is already helping me out. Is my inventory full? Yeah. Alright, we'll put 2 of these back. That should be enough to bring these out. So I'm going to try for 6 small reactors and see if that's enough. So I'm going to want 2 more after this. That's 2. And what I'm thinking is 1. The key is being able to access the... You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind this thing down. Once these are in good position, I'll be fine, but... We'll put 1 here, so I just need a large steel tube for that. And another computer as well. So a few more computers, 2 more large steel tubes. And that should be doing it. Nice. So hopefully 6 reactors will be enough. By the way, there's another way to go about this. I'm going to show you guys in a moment, but I wanted to try it this way first because the other way is a little bit trickier to do. Nice. So only thing left is I'm going to want about, let's see, I've got 4 more in there. Let's go with 8. And we'll put 2 in each. How's that sound? So you get 2 uranium. You get 2 uranium. As do you. And you. Now, let's do this. I'm going to remote control my... I'm going to move this ship manually, probably is the best way to go about this. Turned off my connector there. Just going to kind of get this thing out of the way so that he doesn't get in the way of my other ship. How's my basic welder? So I want to hide these other small reactors. Show block and terminal off. How are we doing in terms of... Not bad. We get pretty close, but I think we're just rarely hitting the overload point. So we'll do basic welder, remote control, autopilot, and hopefully you have a little bit of a better time autopiloting into place. If he does, we'll know that it was definitely not having enough reactors on there to power the thrusters that were causing our autopiloting issues. I'm definitely thinking that was it. Yeah, see how nicely he's lining up now? Well, pretty close. Keeps trying to back into whatever position. Yeah, he's definitely acting a little bit funny. Alright guys, trying one more thing just to see if this works well for us or not. I'm going to have him proceed forward, and I created new docking points. See if that helps maybe. And then you go backwards to the other docking point, hopefully. Ooh, that works nicely, I think. Nice. Still having that little bit of damage trigger, but that's okay. And then, nice, we connected. Perfect. That's what I wanted to see. All right. So that worked pretty well. I'm going to see if that continues to work going forwards, but that worked well enough for me. So what we want to do now is make sure that this ship, whenever it docks, receives certain supplies. So we're going to do that right about now. One other trick, by the way, you'll notice that it's a little bit tricky to get your connection point here. Let's see, basic welder. Yeah, that looks cool. So you can actually see that you can connect to and talk to everything on your station through the connector. That's neat. But what I want to hook up to is the medium cargo container. I'm going to rename this to welder, and I'm going to tell it what I want to have. So for example, if I said component :100, what he should do is steal all the components that he can find on the systems. Let's see, it might be components. I forget. Let me double check that. So what I'm going to do is call this component :P1 :100. And what that should do is keep 100 of every item in his inventory, which is pretty cool. I like that a lot. But what I'm probably going to do is switch that out. Let's see, how much does that store inventory-wise? That ain't too bad. But I'm probably not going to worry too much about some of these things, but others, maybe. Yeah, I think for now 100 of everything's probably good, but the only other thing I might want more than 100 of, let's go to our production tab. Let's start producing some steel plates, hopefully from all the iron we've got, right? Got a decent amount of iron, I hope, at this point. Yeah, we've got like 40k. Nice. So if we check out our components, we should see the first 100 steel plates will land in here. The remaining will go into that cargo hold that's called component that's on the station. I'm going to change the name here, and I'm going to say, steel plate 500. If we check our inventory now, he should keep 500 steel plates. So all component types he'll keep 100 of, except steel plates, because I defined it by name, it'll keep 500 of. And we'll do that for a couple others as well. You know, I might want to have more of some things and less of others, and I'll come up with some good numbers as time goes by. So that is pretty neat. So basically what I've got now is a welding ship that every time he docks will automatically refill with the appropriate components that he's going to need. Nice, right? So that's a little bit of automation. So we've automated the docking, which is cool, and wow, it is really bright in the sun. Let's swap out some oxygen tanks here. So yeah, here's the gist of where we're at right now in the game thus far. So we've automated the part where any ore that comes in will instantly be dropped off in the appropriate refineries, and we can see this refinery is currently working on all the silver ore that we went and mined. Nice, right? We've automated it so that all ore is automatically filtered into this once it's turned into ingots. You can see it's about maybe a quarter of the way full. And all components will land in this inventory slot. Except, of course, for now, the brand new welding ship that we just made. Neat, right? So the welder ship, he's been defined to, as you guess, store in his cargo components about 100 of everything, except steel plates, which it'll store about 500 of. Cool. And I can change a couple other numbers as well. We'll be getting to that in a bit. But for now, I think what I want to do is try out welding in my brand new ship. Warning, suit energy low. That's not good. So I want to extend this station out just a bit, right? So as we saw before, welding has been a little bit painful. And you know what? I'm going to bump this guy up. Basic welder, your steel plate will be 900. And production on the station, make me a few more. That'll be good. So the only reason I can control the station is because the welder has an antenna on it, and he's connected via a connector to the station. Nice. This is looking good so far. So should we take this thing for a little test flight? I think so. First things first, though, I need to refuel my energy. Just sit in the captain's seat. I'm going to put an antenna in the station here pretty shortly, and then I'll be able to control ships from the station as well as my player, because right now, you can see I have basic welder here, but if I go and turn off the power to my connector, I no longer really have access to it. I can only talk to the platform that I'm on. Cool. So let's give this guy a try. I'm going to jump into basic welder 1. I'm going to remote control him. He's doing a little something funny. Let's see. Is his autopilot still on? Yeah, that's why. He's still trying to get into position there. So let's go into camera mode. And then I'm going to grab the groups here, the twin welders, toggle block on and off. By the way, welders will hurt characters. Keep that in mind. But what I should be able to do now is weld. Nice. Look at that. Cool. And that's using the iron, or the steel plates from my inventory. I've got 564 left. Look at that. That is nice. So I can very, very, very easily weld now. Good distance on these things. I'm using the twin welders. Like I said, they've got a slightly larger radius than the original welders. They're also more expensive component-wise, but trust me when I tell you, it's completely worth it. I might have already run out of steel plates. Ha, look at that. All right, so let's fly over here. And I'm going to have this guy auto-dock again. Hopefully it'll work. We'll find out in a moment. All right, the lock is on, so that should fill him back up. Basic welder, inventory. So he did get about 100 more steel plates. Or no, you got the 900 more. Nice. We've only got 100 left on the station. That is cool. So now we can go in here, basic welder, and we're going to say connector toggle off, remote control on, and then I'm going to turn off this guy. Right? Yeah. There we go. Nice. And now I can go finish building. How cool is that? And that isn't even like the best. We're going to do even better as we progress in this series. Nice. So obviously much easier to weld with, right? Very cool. Just watch out because you don't want to weld your player. I'm going to turn off my welders. You can tell they're off because they're not red. When they're on, basic welder, welder's on. You see that red glow? Red is bad. Red hurts. Ow. Dead. That was a demonstration of what not to do. So let's jump back into our medical room here. Get ourselves a little bit of energy. Maybe go find my corpse if it's flying away. See if there's anything I want to get off of him. Dying is not really the end of the world in this game. You can have my automatic rifle there. I'll just get all my components that I had on there. Yeah, that'll do. See you later, buddy. Nice knowing you. Yeah, definitely not the end of the world when you die. Cool. All right, so we've got a basic welder, which, by the way, I can use to weld some other ships. And I think I'm going to start working on that soon because I would like to get a better mining ship. The one that I have, it works. Just ain't so hot. We're going to do better. We're going to do much better. Alright guys, so good news, bad news. Good news is I've got a bunch of cool stuff working. Bad news is it is wrapping up point for the episode. Again, it ran long. Yeah, you can tell. When Dyer's having fun, his episodes run long. That definitely happens. Not that I'm not usually having fun, but when I get lost in what I'm doing, yeah, episodes tend to run late. So for now, Darryl 20 wrapping up the episode. When I come back next time, I might build a bigger mining ship, but there's a lot I need to work towards because more mining means more refining, and more refining means more refineries, and that's going to require more mineral. Like, we start expanding pretty quickly at this point, is basically what's going to happen. We're also going to want more assemblers, because the two that I've got here aren't bad, but they're also not exactly quite good enough. So we're going to want more of them as well. But we'll get all to that in the future. For now, Darryl 20 signing off, like I said. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Take it easy.